G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic whatever time it is in your part of the world. Here in Australia it's a very cold evening, so I'm going to spend this cold evening by doing a collection video for you all. Now this collection is of my South Korean cinema. Now I've done a top 10 previously in the past, but I haven't shown off my entire collection, so I thought I'm going to use this opportunity to do it because for a few reasons. Number one, I feel that South Korean cinema is not talked about enough. And number two, it's fast becoming one of my favourite countries as far as foreign cinema is concerned. You all know that French is my number one, but South Korean has passed Spanish and Scandinavian now. Because I feel that as far as consistency goes, no other country comes near South Korea, and that's including France. Now, the memorable French stuff is better, but as far as consistency is concerned, I do feel that South Korea deliver better films. There are a lot more masterpieces coming from South Korea than any other country. So it's unfair that as far as Asian cinema is concerned, the Japanese are considered the big brother and the South Koreans are in the background. Whereas I feel that that is unjustified because South Korean cinema, in my opinion, is better than Japanese. One, for the consistency, and I feel that the mood and cinematography made in South Korean films is a lot better than Japanese. Japanese kind of do the ghost stories, and there's not so much variety in the Japanese horror genre, or any other genre for that matter, whereas in the South Korean genre, I feel that even in the horror subgenre, there is a lot more creativity and variety and flair. So hopefully by the end of this video, you guys know a little bit more about South Korean cinema. I mean, it's just such a unique experience watching South Korean stuff. It is so in detail. A lot of the movies go for 2 hours or plus. So there's so much in it. There's so much respect for the movie. These people make movies for the love of it. And it just has a very unique cinematography. It's all very beautiful, and I've rarely seen a South Korean movie that hasn't impressed me with the visuals. So I've got a fair collection. I've got over 20 odd films in my South Korean collection, not as big as my French. My French one is about 70 or 80. It's getting to a ridiculous size, but my South Korean cinema collection is fast growing. So no doubt in the future I'll be collecting more and more South Korean stuff, and hopefully by the end of this video it takes your interest a little bit, and hopefully the attention, South Korea gets the attention that it deserves. So I'm going to get straight into it. There's only about 1 or 2 movies that I didn't like from this whole collection, so that shows you the consistency that South Korea have. So the first one we're going to have a look at, a movie that I didn't enjoy that much. This is called The Red Shoes. This one, I'll lie, it was okay, it wasn't terrible, but it was too much like Japanese horror. If you've seen a Japanese ghost story, you've seen this one. Visuals are fairly stunning, but as I said, no creativity, and as far as expectations go for South Korean cinema, I was a little bit disappointed with this one. So this is one of the films that, on the rare occasion, that I didn't enjoy so much. So The Red Shoes, for any South Korean collector, you should have it. But if you're looking to get into the genre and you want something different from Japanese stuff, then maybe you shouldn't watch this one until a bit later. Next up is a very memorable film called Save the Green Planet. This is very brutal. It looks to be just a comedy, but it's far from a comedy. It's a very outrageous plot, which I'm not going to go into, but it's done in a very serious way. So you kind of don't know what to feel, whether you should laugh or whether you should be gasping in shock. So very, very memorable. I didn't really like the ending so much, but it's still a very worthwhile experience. Just be very careful. The cover is a little bit misleading because it is quite brutal. Now the next one is a movie by Kim Ki-suk, Korea's most controversial director, and this is called The Isle. Now this one disappointed me a little bit because I feel my expectations were a little bit too high. There are some very shocking scenes in the film, and as far as South Korean cinema is concerned, this is one of the more nasty ones. It's a little bit dated. I think it was made in 1998, so you know, it's not as colourful as a lot of South Korean stuff recently, but it's still worthwhile. It's a beautifully made film, but as I said, the expectation levels maybe were a little bit too high on this one, and maybe I'll have to watch it again to give it a fair viewing. The next one is a very memorable film, very gory, very brutal, and very emotional. This is called The Devil, about a woman who seeks revenge on a community that neglected her and caused her daughter's death. So she goes a little bit mental and she starts butchering the village people. So yeah, this is one of the more hardcore South Korean cinema horror films. So if you can stomach some good gore, and you don't mind having your heart broken because the ending is quite depressing, then I would highly recommend you check this one out. Very, very good. Next one is a horror comedy that I really enjoyed. This is called Chore. It's about a killer boar who goes through this village and is killing everyone, and they get some hunters. A very fine mixture of horror and comedy. I really, really like this movie, and I highly recommend it to anyone who is a fan of films like Shaun of the Dead and all those sort of light-hearted horror comedies. So, yeah, I really highly recommend this one, a very underrated South Korean horror film. Next up is a movie called Attack the Gas Station. This was fantastic, very, very funny, and some of the brawl scenes reminded me of the classic gang film, The Wanderers. Yes, about a group of thugs who take over a gas station and things go from bad to worse. So this is one of the littler known South Korean films, but definitely one to check out. This is a movie I haven't seen yet called Haunters. This is a South Korean take on the superhero genre. It's about a villain who can see everybody's thoughts and can control them through the mind. And he comes across one person who he can't control, and that is his nemesis. So there's a battle between wits. It looks really interesting. I can't wait to check it out. This is a movie from... I can't really recall the name right now, but this is called The Chaser. This is a serial killer movie. Very memorable. I felt it went on for a little bit too long, but as far as serial killer films are concerned, this one is a very good one. This is from the same director. I recently reviewed it, so if you want details, please check out that review. This is called The Yellow Sea. Fantastic, very, very brutal. It's up there with Bedeviled as far as brutality is concerned. Once again, went for a little bit too long, but still very memorable and worth the effort to go and see. Now this is from Ji-woon Kim, who is one of my favourite directors of all time. I Saw the Devil. This is a classic about a cop who is after a serial killer that killed his wife. He ends up capturing him, but then he decides to torture him, then let him go. He puts a tracking device inside this serial killer so he can find him again, and then he does the same thing over and over again because he wants the serial killer to experience as much pain as possible before he kills him. So really, this is a classic South Korean film, one of my favourite movies of all time. So many people talk about it, so you don't need me to go on about it anymore. I Saw the Devil, one of the very best Korean films. Same director, Ji-woon Kim, The Good, the Bad, the Weird. This is an Asian spin-off, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. I actually enjoyed this one more, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. So that tells you something. South Korean, just really funny humour and some very, very good action sequences. It can kind of go along an action film on its own. So a lot to like about this one. I really enjoyed it. So if you're a fan of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly and you don't mind reading subtitles, definitely check this one out. Same director, Ji-woon Kim, A Bittersweet Life. This is one of his movies that not many people talk about. It's a gangster film. It's got typical Ji-woon Kim written all over it. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got great characters, and it's got a heartbreaking ending. So, yeah, if you're a fan of this guy, please check out this film. It also has Lee Byung-hun, who is an actor who acts in a lot of Ji-woon Kim's films. This is the original A Tale of Two Sisters, same director, Ji-woon Kim. There's an American remake called The Uninvited. I would recommend you check this one out instead of that one. This is a far superior film. Typical Ji-woon Kim, as I said, soundtrack, and this is actually a genuinely scary film. Another Ji-woon Kim movie. This is his first movie, and I feel his most underrated, The Quiet Family. Takashi Miike did a remake of this. I think it was a musical. Fantastic stuff. I love the South Korean humour, and he mixes the humour with the horror element perfectly. This is a very, very enjoyable film. It's made in 1998, so it's one of the older South Korean films. Now this is a movie by Bong Joon-ho, who's a very good director. Memories of Murder. This is probably the best South Korean movie ever made. Very similar to Zodiac, which is a serial killer movie in America. I feel this is far superior to Zodiac, and it's based on a true story. Just a very depressing film, and it's just one of the most beautifully made films ever, in my opinion. Fantastic, I loved it. Go out and see it if you haven't done so already. The same director, probably his most popular film called The Host. This is a creature feature film. You know, I liked it, but it was a little bit overrated as far as I'm concerned. I'm not really that much into creature features, but this one was enjoyable, and it had a very deep political message as well. So, yeah, a lot of people talk about it. You've probably already seen it, but if you haven't, then I would say if you're a fan of creature feature, definitely check it out. Same director. This is Mother, another underrated Korean film about a woman who has a half-wit son. He's a bit of an idiot and he creates a lot of trouble. He is arrested for murder, and the mother is hell-bent on proving the son's innocence, and she even goes to very dangerous lengths. So this is a very good character study and another very underrated film. Now the last movies are from Park Chan-wook. The first one's Old Boy. This is what got me started in Korean cinema. I love this movie. Everything about it is perfect. It's a masterpiece. I don't feel it's as good as Memories of Murder or I Saw the Devil, but it's still right up there as far as Korean classics are concerned. And the twist at the end is mind-blowing. Loved it. From the same trilogy, there's a trilogy of Vengeance films. I haven't got Lady Vengeance yet. I'm still after that one, so hopefully I'll get it soon. But this is the first one, I believe, called Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. I like this one a lot better the second time I watched it. The first time I watched it, I thought it was nothing special, but it was really emotional on the second attempt. So I probably didn't give it a fair enough go the first time I watched it, but the second time I liked it a hell of a lot better. And then the last one is a vampire movie from Park Chan-wook called Thirst. Didn't really enjoy this one as much. I felt that it went for a little bit too long, but it was still memorable, and if you like your vampire films, it's something to have for a bit of variation. So that Park Chan-wook, one of the more well-known Korean directors, and yeah, once again, another movie that I would say go out there and see. So that's my collection of South Korean cinema. The video's gone on for a little bit long, but as I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about South Korean movies and try and get a little bit more word out there about them. So hopefully you found this video interesting, and until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.